Hello, all you creative crusaders. It's been a while since I posted, and I've been kind of more busy on my other two channels, but I wanted to post something really fun. And for me, creativity can show in all kinds of ways. One vocally, one with what you do and what you create with your hands. It can show up in your mind processes, and it actually starts deep inside with how we view the world and what we're willing to bring forth or how we're willing to show up. So I wanted to post something about actually how we create our new worlds. And not just that, but a little kind of practice that was developed actually through Kyle Cease. And I'm going to show you an interview or an example of it with my twin Grace. And she is just amazingly awesome and very creative. But I wanted to share an interview I had with her with an example of this practice so that if you are inspired, you can go ahead and try it. And it's amazing what you might actually from there decide is actually possible in what you create in your life. So I hope you enjoy. And if you do enjoy, feel free to check out my other two channels, Gwen Juvenal and Christmas Crusader, of course. Hello, everyone out there. I'm sitting here with my twin, Grace. Say hi.
Hi.
And I wanted to share with you what it's totally possible, like how that it affected Grace in her life. It was funny, we were on a trip to Hawaii and we were just chatting with a lady and I shared it's totally possible and Grace was like, what? This is cool. And so did you share it from then on? Did you just start doing it in the morning? Is that what happened?
Yeah, usually, it was a good thing to do in the morning because, I was dealing with a lot of challenging stuff and, was trying to find incentive to get up.
To rise from the bed in the morning.
To rise. So what I usually did it in the morning, but then sometimes I would do it during the day if I hit up against a wall, sometimes, or I'd find myself going through a thinking pattern that was negative or so forth. Sometimes I would do it then. And, the first time I did it, it felt a little uncomfortable.
That's totally possible. Was that when we were in Hawaii and you were like, this feels weird kind of
Yeah,
thing?
that must have been it. I can't remember when I started it. So if you remember, that's great. But, at first, and the thing was, oh, that's right. And the thing was, is that Gwen kind of pushed me to like think really wacky, like way out there. And then it became like a game, like, oh my gosh, let's see what wacky scenarios we can come up with, right?
Yeah.
And
like aliens.
Yeah, like aliens and
unicorns
and maybe the volcano will explode or whatever, whatever,
Yeah.
So what it did was it really started bringing more of an ease to my life and gave me permission to kind of just explore, and just see what was going to happen. Hey, let's find out. And that was really important for me because I can really get like rigid sometimes. And so that was really helpful. And we even like forced the kids to do it once when we were in the car. And
Grace likes to put her kids in situations and try to get them to experience things.
Well, the point is,
I guess what moms do, right?
Yeah, well, the car, they're trapped, So, I was doing it and I was trying to get them involved and they were just like, And finally, one of my children chimed in with something.
Yeah.
And then when we got home, the thing happened that they thought was not going to happen. They're like, oh, okay, we're going to find, blah, blah, blah. I came home and almost immediately found what they had been looking for months and months, right? So, and then I got them to recognize, oh yeah, remember, it did come to, and they were like, oh yeah. So, sometimes things started happening that we had said, oh, it's entirely possible, blah, blah, blah. And so then I started actually using it more for my own internal things and thoughts, you know, recognizing some of those struggles I was having like, you know, it's entirely possible that I belong here, you know?
Yeah.
And so, and then you can start getting a little bit more personal with it. And at that point, then you can start doing affirmations that you actually can somewhat believe. You know, affirmations, it's hard to do them when you're like, yeah, right, you know? But when you've let your brain be open to possibilities and you've said it enough, then your brain is willing to accept, oh, maybe this can be.
Yeah.
And at that point, then you can, you know, bring in some affirmations and so forth that probably wouldn't have been as effective if you had just tried to like, I'm going to do these affirmations that I don't really believe type thing.
Yeah, because you're, instead of hitting up against a wall, your mind is kind of already, the wheel is moving. It's getting used to moving and seeing like, oh, there's an agility here. There's some kind of play here that actually is happening. And things aren't as strict as the box that I told myself reality was.
Yeah, totally. And, you know, it really did help me with that because, you know, there were some really frustrating situations I was dealing with, some really tough stuff. And to just be able to just practice even thinking about it in a different way, you know, really, it's freeing.
Yeah.
It's freeing. And so, allowing my brain to do that and encouraging it to do that was really helpful for me to be able to find other things also that were helpful for me because I was open. I was open to, and I had more of an attitude of like, ooh, what am I going to discover next? What's going to happen next? What's going to happen? And when you can practice that mentality, then overall you're going to be able to recognize the blessings and the things and, you know, wisdom and knowledge and things that and experiences that come into your life that can help you. But if you're not and you're closed off and you're so focused on the world is unjust or this isn't right or whatever, then you're not going to be as open to those blessings that can come into your life.
Yeah. And I think that's really key because I remember I consider myself a little bit more woo-woo out there. Probably considered Grace is kind of a little bit more set in kind of a rational setting here. And I think perhaps maybe that actually opened you up even a little bit more to like I introduced Grace to Paul Selig and a few other things. And I think that having that it's totally possible kind of helped you listen, even consider something because I think sometimes we really can get in an ingrained system that says, oh, you know, that didn't make sense to me a long time ago. Why would I put myself through it now? Why would I consider it? But like having that openness, I think is a really good thing.
It is. So that's, I think it's been beneficial. And even though I've been doing some other things, actually, I think it was yesterday, you know, and I've done it off and on, is do that again when I find myself kind of in that stuck place, you know, or whatever, and allow myself to just say, you know, it's entirely possible, blah, 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 you know, just to kind of open myself up again.
Yeah. Perfect. Well, we're going to show an example. We're going to do this. Grace is going to.
We are?
Yes, we are.
Okay.
Grace is going to do one. I'm going to kind of supercharge. We can supercharge each other so you guys can get an example of how you might use this in your regular life. All right, here we go. Let's do some, it's totally possible. Grace has used the words, it's entirely possible.
It's totally, sometimes I'll use it's totally.
Doesn't matter.
Either
it's
way.
It's the same thing. Okay, let's go ahead and start, Grace. You know, I'm going to start this off because I'm feeling inspired. You know, it's totally possible that we are going to rock with it's totally possible. It's totally possible that we're just going to have so much fun that the rest of our day is just going to feel enlightened. We're going to just be happy. We're going to see new options that we didn't before. And what might have been considered chores before is just something fun. It's entertaining. It's enjoying. What do you think, Grace? What's totally possible for you?
It's totally possible that this experience inspires me in some art way and that I can create something amazing for the world when it comes to my art.
Yeah. Totally. That's totally possible, Grace. I can see it now. I mean, you've already developed so much beauty in your voice and everything, and you're starting to step into using paint. It's totally possible that you could even combine those two and some kind of amazing thing that you share with people. Like, it's totally possible that you could create something entirely new that's like uniquely Grace.
That's totally me.
Yeah.
Yeah. And it's entirely possible that I could create like a YouTube channel like based around this idea, right? And that it would like connect with people, and people would just be drawn to it and be like, hey, I want to create with you, or hey, let's do this, and let's work on this project together. Yeah.
Totally.
Yeah.
It's totally possible that you can inspire a lot of people, and that maybe musicians might be attracted to it and say, hey, you know, I actually want someone who can help me create the visual and has a great voice. Will you be that part for me? And like you could collaborate and create something really beautiful. You know, it's totally possible that this has been really on my mind, and it's on the mind of thousands and thousands of people already. They're like, hey, you know what? This is an amazing world. Look at what is available to us right now. And I've always wanted to create in this way, and it will bring me so much joy.
Yeah, and it's entirely possible that, you know, my kids even might like be inspired to me, like, hey, I can participate in this way and that way, and really feel like, you know, we can do some projects like together and really kind of like strengthen our relationships and bonds, and that it will inspire them and encourage them to like really express themselves.
Absolutely. That is totally possible. And I think it's totally possible that they can, from that experience, actually see how they can create in the world and like actually like step into the world in a new way. So they don't, you know, I know with kids sometimes they feel like they don't know how to go out into the world and feel accomplished. Well, it's totally possible that this could kind of start that path for them, and they could start expanding their social contacts and how they express, and feel kind of like wow, I'm bringing something to the world.
Yeah, and with that, it's completely possible that it builds their confidence, and it builds their ability to really express the amazing people that they are, and that my children can bloom, you know, on their own as they, you know, as they're getting to this age where they're starting to kind of step out on their own a little bit, and that they can really find, you know, fulfilling lives because they know how to express themselves, and they know how to contribute, and feel like they can help create something beautiful.
Yeah, isn't that amazing? I mean, I know that's what I want for my kids. I mean, it's totally possible that this connection with our passion can really be a key in our feeling fulfilled in the world, and it can be a key in us knowing how to manage life and maneuver. Like, it can help bring those skills into our system, because when we find our passion, we start to move with it, and we start to know how to navigate things in order to fulfill that passion.
Yeah, and it's entirely possible that really allowing myself to dive into my creative energy, it can help my healing process, and it can help me really shine and find a real place in this world, and find that I'm really contributing, and I'm valued because of my contribution and how I am helping and inspiring other people.
Yeah, all of that is totally possible.
Yeah.
In fact, it's even totally possible that even if the outward recognition isn't there, that the inward recognition is there, and that inward recognition is the fuel that we really crave and need. Is that inward recognition, and really addressing and coming to and helping our dreams and our passions be manifest. That is kind of like the juicy juice, you know, of it all.
Yeah, and it's entirely possible that, you know, it's those challenges of creating something new, and that challenge that can really create passion in my life and really provide drive, an inner drive that can help me through all sorts of things that happen in my life, and that other people can see that and find their own drive and their own passion.
Absolutely. And you know what I'm saying? It's totally possible that this is one of those beautiful things that cannot be taken away from you. It's one of those things that, of course, if you want to give it away, you can. You give it away, but it's something that cannot be taken away from you because you were the one that took those steps. You are the one that discovered that passion within you. You are the one who developed that and know how to do that. So, you know, it's totally possible that this Totally Possible rocked.
And it's totally possible, Gwen, that people are going to really connect with this and they're going to share it with all their friends and everyone that they know. And this is going to end up getting 1 million views eventually.
1 million views. Look,
wow.
Grace helps
That's
me
totally
get
possible.
1 million views. Thanks, Grace.
I like that.
What a sister, right? I hope you have fun with your It's Totally Possible. Thank you for joining me for this fun and creative adventure. If you want to do something fun with me and create with me, please feel free to contact me. I've got all my information in the information box or section down there, and I look forward to hearing from you and what you're creating in your life.